So bad I had to quickly go before I went into work.
Let's talk.
Either you accept the way the world is, or you are as selfish can be.
I think that Canada definitely needs to reopen this debate.
You're listening to The Lynn Martin Show on AM800.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. Windsor Mayor Eddie Francis joins us in studio today at 519-792-CKLW, 1-800-263-2559, and star 800 on your cell phone. We continue to take your calls on the budget that was passed last night, the enhanced capital budget as well. We are talking about where this money is going, the plan for the next 5 years. 519-792-2559, 1-800-263-2559, and star 800 on your cell phone. So we are answering your questions, taking your calls, and talking about some of the things that Council talked about last night. One of the things that we know is that we will have a new City Hall and that you will have a new tenant in the building as well.
Yeah, let me, with your permission, an indulgence, let me spend some time explaining it, because it is an exciting piece that came out of last night's budget session. Last year's budget, the budget prior, City Council earmarked dollars available for a new City Hall. And we've already talked about the existing state of City Hall. So it's not a question of, it's just a question of necessity. It's not a question of desire, but it's a question of necessity that we build a new City Hall for our employees and just to function. So Council already earmarked those dollars. That was approved in previous year's budget. But during that course of the year, we had heard rumblings with regards to the Public Works Canada and the employees they represent that they have here at the Paul Martin building, and that their building was becoming obsolete as well, and that they needed to find a new location. And our concern was that they had currently employ about 350 employees. Our concern was that's a significant level of employees to lose out of our downtown core or out of our city, because they could be relocated somewhere else. And two, it's a very significant federal presence that we want to maintain. So we had approached Public Works Canada. We had discussions with them about the possibility of saving the building, saving the employees, and saving the federal presence. Those discussions took many forms and throughout the year, in different forms throughout the year. But effectively, what has resulted is the following. City Council yesterday evening dealt with the framework for a lease with Public Works Canada. It's the first step in the process. We've agreed to our side of the terms and conditions. And as a result of that, now the federal government, Public Works Canada, will now begin their approval process. And if it all goes as is intended and hoped for, effectively there will be a new City Hall that will be built. It will include the City of Windsor, and if approved, and again, big caveat, if approved, because they still have to go through their process, then Public Works Canada will be joint tenants with the city, like we are delivering joint services in common areas, like we are across the street at the 400 building. But to do that and to attract a new tenant, we have to add additional floors to meet their space requirements, which is the reason why we had to ask Council for more money last night. The more money that was asked for last night, the $12 million, was to build the new floors to satisfy Public Works. I also, as part of it, would be that the city then would acquire the Paul Martin building, and the city then would turn around and offer the Paul Martin building, including $15 million of cash, to the University of Windsor to attract the law school to the downtown core. Again, this is the beginning process, but what that does is the building commitment and the money commitment allows Dr. Wilderman and the university now to approach the federal and provincial government to access some funds and to put together the pieces that are required to bring the law school downtown. So, a very exciting proposal for many reasons. Let me just talk about a few right now. First of all, it completes, if you will, the vision of the downtown in terms of attracting the law school and building up that corridor as it relates to the college and the university and the academic institutions. It saves the public, the Paul Martin building and the facade and what I believe is a very significant building, both in size and scope, and it really is a landmark building, and I'd hate to see that building demolished, or I hate to see that building turned into a parking lot or something else. So it does allow for a adaptive use of an old heritage building in my mind. More importantly, I think it saves the 350 jobs here for the future. It anchors those jobs here and ensures that they can't be relocated to any other jurisdiction or any other area or region. It ensures that there continues to be a federal presence. And it does so in a way that brings together city services and federal services in one building like we've been doing, that improves, if you will, the quality of the services provided to the taxpayer. Doing all that without having to increase taxes. For those that will say, well, you shouldn't be getting into this type of public or private space, let me just say this. You have a public entity in the Public Works Department, in a public facility owned by the Government of Canada, moving into a public facility, City Hall, and then City Hall taking a public building and giving it to another public institution, which is the University of Windsor. So it would be a good deal. I believe very strongly in this deal. I think the council was very visionary in what they've set out to do for downtown. Last night, I think, was another important step for council in their effort to revitalize and rebalance our downtown and diversify it. And I think last night was a key step to begin the process. The federal approvals will take place, I think, in the next 0 to 4, 5, 6 months. We expect to hear from them. Once the approvals come back, we'll be able to go to design. And once we go to design, then the shovel will hit the ground. On top of that, it'll concurrently allow the university to begin the process of trying to access federal and provincial dollars. And then if all goes well, new City Hall would be built in 2017. The feds would move into the building in 2017. And the university would take ownership of the Paul Martin building and begin the renovations, remodeling, whatever they've got planned. And then the law school would be relocated 2019, 2020 to our downtown core, just on the heels of the armories being done, the old Windsor Star building being done, and the Greyhound site being done.
All right, very good. 519-792-CKLW. We are answering questions, taking your calls on the budget. If you have those, you can give us a call. 519-792-2559. Matt joins us next. Good morning, Matt.
Hi, Lynn. I have a two-part question for the mayor. My first part of the question is, what assessment year was the largest loss in property values through impact for the ratepayers?
Good morning, Matt. I don't have those numbers off the top of my head. I'll happily get them back to you, but I know that we've had two reassessments in 2009 and 2013. With regards to which years was the largest, I'd have to look at it. But throughout the years, obviously, the industrial and commercial properties have been taking us to assessment review, and they've been on a one-off basis having their assessments declined.
Well, yeah, in 2008, it actually was the assessment year, and 2009 was the budget year for the city. But
well, I'm talking budget years, right?
Yeah, but personally, and other people I know, the 2008 assessment year for impact, people lost property values. And in the 2008 to 2009 years was the largest tax rate jump. Now, that's done by City Hall, and it actually went from 0.1844852, or sorry, 0.1741741 to 0.1844852. That's a large jump in the tax rate. Now, my question is to you, you guys did that, and my statement to you is you guys did that in order to make up for the assessment loss on property value. So essentially, you raised taxes on dropping property values through impact. So, you know, saying you froze the budget is one thing, but you actually did increase taxes 10 points basically, Matt, from what I just stated to you, in the 2000 to 2009 years, because the assessment year, people lost property values. It would have been a big budget and revenue loss for the city. So that was our largest tax increase by you guys, and it went up every year since until the 2012 reassessment year. And when they reassessed and property values recovered slightly, all those tax rate increases actually apply to the new property assessments, whether people recovered their crash of the 2008 levels. They're now at the 2013 levels. They're recovering some of their property values. That is now applied to them. Because remember, a property value decrease is phased in immediately. So it would have hit the 2009 budget. So the largest tax increase you guys put on us was in the 2009 year.
Well, Matt, the only reason
revenue losses.
Well, Matt, I explained this to Sandra earlier, and let me try to answer your question, because you've raised 3 or 4 things in there. You've raised the mill rate, you've raised the tax rate, you've raised the assessment. So let me try to break down some of the issues for your consideration. First of all, as I said, if you look at the total overall dollars that the city requires to run our operations, let's use the number $388. We've been raising, and we have to raise that level of money to fund our operations. To do that, your tax bill is made up of two components, the tax rate and the assessment. In 2008, the reassessment that was done was delivered to the city in 2009. And the reassessment of that year, if there was a decrease of reassessment citywide, then what needs to happen is there needs to be an adjustment in the tax rate to raise the same amount of revenue. So those properties that were below the average or close to the average would have had their bills the same. Those that were above the average, those properties that had their assessment go up, would have had a slight increase. The tax rate was adjusted, if I recall correctly, from approximately 1.47 to 1.5%. In 2010, there was no reassessment year. 2010, the taxes were reduced. The tax rate was reduced. 2011, the tax rate was reduced. In 2012, we went into the education room by 0.6%. In 2013, which is a reflection of the 2012 reassessment, the reassessment went up. Again, in order to ensure that we were raising the same amount of money, right, the tax rate would be adjusted. Overall, when we talk about holding the line, we're talking about the impact to the taxpayer and residential taxpayer. And on average, if you're below the assessment, below the threshold, your rates would have been the same. And the numbers and the stats are very clear. Today, you would be paying the same thing that you paid in 2008. Now, the example I used with Sandra earlier is very valid in this case. If the assessment was to come in, and assuming that the province assessed the properties in the city of Windsor like the city of Toronto, where it was 2 times the assessed value, would you expect the city of Windsor to keep all that cash and have you dinged on your bill? No, you would expect the city of Windsor to reduce their tax rate to raise the amount of money that they need to run their operations, which has been pretty flatlined and arguably flatlined over the past several years. So in specific examples, that's what it is. So the tax bill is made up of your tax rate times your assessment. That's not new. That's not something that happened on Eddie Francis's watch, and that's not something that applies to this council. That's something that is applied to these councils and the past councils for decades and decades and decades. And I get it, Matt. I know that there's a group out there, and you're part of it, which I respect. I respect your opinions and decisions, that you need to find fault in everything that we do. That's fine, right? But the facts are the facts, and they're undisputable. And if you want to talk about your specific example, I'd be more than happy to talk about your specific example to basically highlight how the city's held the line on taxes.
Matt?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening to that, Mr. Francis. Can I respond to that?
Yeah, Matt, let's talk about your specific example. Give me consent.
Okay,
give me consent.
My specific example is that you just said that you lowered the taxes. The tax rate has never been lowered. The tax rate
I've said, Matt,
every year between 2008 to 2013, and it now stands at 1.86 or 0.0186 3926.
Matt,
in 2008 it was 0.184 4852. It has not lowered 1 year. Now, myself, if my property when I bought my house in Windsor was at, and I'm now I just got a tax shortfall notice in the bank. I'm at $3,100 now, actually a little higher than that. In 07 when I bought the house, that was at $2,700. So I obviously my taxes have gone up. Now, when I bought my house was valued at I believe $150 or $162. I was part of the group that got the 2008 crash in property values. You raised the mill rate all the way up, trying to collect the same amount of money for your spending needs, and no one's disputing that. I agree. You spend. Yes, you tax and spend as you go. I understand that. You like to keep your budget the same. You like to, but that is a direct impact on people's properties, whether devaluing or increasing. They were receiving tax increases by the city. You were requiring the same amount of revenue. We get that. But taxes have gone up every year, including mine, including my neighbors, including people I know. So
that's because Matt. That's because your assessment, Matt.
Okay,
that's because your assessment went up.
Just hang on one sec.
That's because your assessment went up. Your assessed value of your home.
Eddie, my assessment value goes up in the 2012 year.
Matt,
no, Eddie, my assessment didn't go up.
Matt, I looked, Matt.
I lost property value, Eddie. We lost property value in 2008 in the assessed year.
You're more than welcome.
The tax rate was applied.
Okay, you know what, you guys? I think that we need to take it away from Matt, your personal thing here for a sec, and just deal with it, because we have like hundreds of thousands of people listening. So let's end this particular little. I would be more than happy, Matt, if you want to call my office to have the conversation with you and to pull up your exact property file and your property info and walk through the different assessed values that have been returned on your specific property and the impact. The fact of the matter is this. When I go out there and when councillors go out there and say we're holding the line on taxes, we're holding the line on taxes, and the facts speak for themselves. With regards to assessed values, as we've said, if the average homeowner has experienced an increase to their assessed value beyond the threshold, they would have an impact. For the majority of the residents of the city of Windsor, they've been below the average, and as a result, they've been, as we've said last night, the homeowner in 2012 or the homeowner in 2014 would be paying the same thing that they would be paying in 2008 based on their average assessment. But you're more than welcome to call my office, Matt, and we can have that conversation. All right. 519-792-CKLW. We are back with more of your calls on the budget here on AM800.
The countdown is on for your chance to win one of 6 cars at Caesars Windsor on December 28th with the Chevy Cruze giveaway. Starting at 6 p.m., we'll be sending someone home in a brand new Chevy Cruze until all 6 are gone. Start swiping your Total Rewards card December 1st to earn entries. Drive into the new year in a Chevy Cruze. Must be present to win. Know your limit, play within it. Must be 19 or older. Details at CaesarsWindsor.com. No purchase necessary. GM registered trademark used with permission.
AM800 weather brought to you by Abraham's Jewelry. Check out their new selection of beautiful inventory just in time for the holidays. Stop by now and save the tax. Abraham's Jewelry, 7385 Tecumseh Road East. Mainly cloudy. Today we have flurries and rain and highs near 8. Overnight lows, well, hanging right around 8. Cloudy with a chance of showers tomorrow. Highs near 12. Thursday, highs near 7. It's 1 right now, 34 Fahrenheit.
It's Tuesday, December 3rd. A one-day sale really pays dividends when not just the bankers understand the multiples. Today only at Hudson's Bay, men's Calvin Klein dress shirts are just $19.99, regularly $70. That's a $50 saving. With up to 50 styles and patterns, everyone can do this math. 3 shirts for less than the price of 1. If you're looking to maximize your return, stock up on these. Today only at Hudson's Bay and thebay.com.
Chevrolet is offering 0% financing for terms up to 84 months on the entire 2014 lineup, and the savings are huge. Get into the all-new Silverado, the most fuel-efficient V8 pickup at 0%, but only for a limited time. Even the Sonic, Cruze, Equinox, and Silverado HD Diesel all have 0% financing for up to 84 months. The 0% on everything event ends on December 9th. See your Chevrolet dealer now or visit Chevrolet.ca.
The holidays are right around the corner. Bo-Rix will give you a look you'll love at a price you'll like. Make sure your family is photo ready. Bo-Rix on Tecumseh at McDougall and Tecumseh at Jefferson want to make sure your family has a look you'll love. Haircuts only $11.99. Visit either Bo-Rix location today.
Hi, I'm Christine.
Christine's a business analyst at TELUS. She's always thinking numbers.
Like the number 0, because we've got great smartphones on a 2-year TELUS Share Plus plan. Like the Samsung Galaxy S4 Mini from $0.
What number am I thinking of?
0?
You're good. What about now?
Still 0.
How do you do that?
Brighten your holiday with $0 smartphones on Canada's most reliable 4G mobile network. Limitations apply. Visit TELUSmobility.com or see in store for details.
This holiday season, Cora restaurants celebrate the spirit of giving. When you buy your sister a $25 gift card, Cora gives you one worth $10. And when you buy your boss a $25 gift card, Cora gives you one worth $10. What better way to spread the joy? Hurry, it's for a limited time. Details at Cora Breakfast and Lunch.
Get all your holiday shopping wrapped up at Windsor Crossing. Every weekend, go back in time with horse and buggy rides from 1 to 4 at the warming station near JSET and Route 73. Also, catch the Spirit with $25,000 in prizes to be won. Enter in mall, online, or on Facebook now through December 15th. Don't forget, when you shop December 11th, 12th, or 13th, show your receipts from 10 to 5 at customer service that total over $50 and score a beautiful gift with purchase. Visit WindsorCrossing.com.
Windsor Crossing. What will you come across this holiday season?
If you missed Black Friday and still have a gift to get, Henry's, Canada's go-to photography store, has great savings on the hottest Nikon gear for the photo buff in your family. Save now on the new Nikon D5300 DSLR with 18 to 55 millimeter vibration reduction lens, featuring built-in wireless connectivity and GPS. Only $899.99. Plus, with our price match promise, unbeatable selection, and a staff that lives and breathes photography, Henry's is your first stop and only shop for Nikon this Christmas.
Rise and shine. Tiger Sweat. Old Horsey. White Lightning. By any name, moonshine is illegal.
This ain't good.
When a veteran goes legit,
I've been trying to get out of the illegal moonshining business.
fellow shiners swarm for a piece of his empire.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about.
An all-new episode of Moonshiners. Watch responsibly. Thursday at 10 on Discovery.
All right, real quick before we go on to other calls as well, because we don't have the entire morning here with you. You wanted to talk about...
Right. What Matt, I think, is getting at is when we say holding the line on taxes, we mean the overall impact. And obviously, holding the line on taxes meant when you get your tax bill, that it's the same as last year. When there's a reassessment, and what Matt was getting at in 2008, if there was a decrease in the reassessment, as he was explaining, as to get the tax bill to be the same, if there's a decrease overall, if there's like to maintain it overall, raise $388 million, if there's a decrease to one individual, right? He wants the benefit of that decrease.
Mm-hmm.
So we should lower the tax rate, and she should get a credit on his bill. But we look at the overall city, and when the overall city assessment's returned, on average, we adjust our tax rate to make sure that it's equal for everybody. Just like when your assessment goes up, right? If you're just slightly above or near, and your assessment went up, but it's not at the average, you don't get a huge spike. So that's what we do. We look at the overall city assessment, we get the averages, and we set the tax rate against those averages to maintain that equilibrium, if you will, in your tax bill, so that we can hold the line. But Matt is correct. If his tax rate goes down, he's not going to. If his assessment goes down significantly below average, he's not going to get a decrease.
No,
it won't be significant, right? But if his assessment goes up under the threshold, neither will he get an increase. It's when you go beyond that threshold that it impacts it. Overall, when we say holding the line on taxes, we're talking about when you open up your tax bill, and if you're an average homeowner that is not and has not been impacted by the assessment, and in the assessment year that was done in 2008 and 2012, your bill should be zero. Now, having said that, they don't compare us to other regions. Tecumseh, Amherstburg, LaSalle, the County of Essex, London, Toronto, right? But I get it. We've been able to do something, so they've got to find a problem with what we've done, right? But the other cities, they do the same thing, right? So when we're saying holding the line, it's, again, going back to the earlier first call that we had this morning. We look at the average assessment across the city that are returned to us to the province. We set our tax rate to ensure that we're raising the same level of money. And that does have different impacts on the residents, individual residents, depending on where they fall in that particular assessment year.
All right. We are back with more here on AM800, 519-792-2559, where it's 10:30.
From the AM800 News Center, your number one news source in Windsor, Essex. An information update with Peter Straw.
As you're hearing on the Lynn Martin Show, another 0% tax increase for Windsor ratepayers. Councillors have passed the city's 2014 operating budget. Comes in at $722 million, maintains services, and continues to pay down the city's debt. Meantime, also approved by Council, an enhanced 2014 capital budget, calling for an additional $58.5 million investment over the next 5 years. More name-calling around the council table in Amherstburg. Some councillors have been accused of being puppets, while Mayor Wayne Hurst is accused of bullying those who disagree with him. Hurst calls the ongoing bickering embarrassing, but doesn't think it's keeping council from getting its work done. Councillor Diane Pouget is urging residents to start attending council meetings to see what really goes on. In the face of the Heinz closure in Leamington, 2 local unions won't be getting increases in pay or benefits in their new contracts. Both Teamsters Local 879 and the Leamington Firefighters Association approached the town and proposed 0 increases. Mayor John Patterson is grateful, saying the unions obviously understand the pressure the town is under. Details on these and other stories coming up at 11 o'clock. A milder afternoon, the forecast in just a moment.
CAA is giving back to members. Get your chance to win 20,000 CAA dollars at our CAA Member 2020 event. Members get automatically entered to win in store, online, or by phone. Plus, earn CAA dollars or save on selected products. So many ways to be rewarded, you'll be glad you're a CAA member. But hurry, event ends December 7th. No purchase necessary. Restrictions apply. Insurance details and full contest rules at 2020deals.ca.
There are lots of things to get excited about this holiday season. The parties, mistletoe, and of course eggnog. Winners, HomeSense, and Marshalls want to give you one more thing to get excited about: the chance to win your gifts. Simply shop at Winners, HomeSense, or Marshalls. Swipe your Style Plus loyalty card, enter online, and you could win the value of your purchase. The more you shop, the more you could win. There's a winner every week at every store in Canada and over 1,000 prizes to be won. Contest ends December 24th. Find out more at winyourgifts.ca.
AM800 weather brought to you by The Running Factory. Show them your feet and they'll show you a perfect fit. The New Balance Store, 4115 Walker Road. At The Running Factory, Wyandotte East at Prado.
From the AM800 Weather Center, let's check the forecast. Cloudy, a 60% chance of showers this afternoon. Wind from the south to 20 kilometers an hour, the high near 8. A 60% chance of showers tonight. Wind becoming light, the temperature steady near 7 degrees. And about the same tomorrow, cloudy, a 60% chance of showers. Wind from the south to 30 kilometers an hour, the high near 12. Right now, Oldcastle -1 and Windsor 1, 34 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm Peter Straw, AM800 News.
Prime Lighting Design wants to know where you entertain guests, where you curl up to read a book, where you relax with your loved ones. These are all important things to consider when buying lighting for your home. Whether you're looking for light fixtures, bulbs, home decor, or artwork and candles, Prime Lighting Design can help. Come visit the showroom today and meet with a certified American Lighting Association expert and interior design team to experience what shopping for lighting should really be like. Visit Prime Lighting Design at 1641 Provincial inside Plaza, Ontario, or online at primelightingdesign.com.
Homeowners building or renovating? Plaza Ontario offers an incredible in-stock selection of imported tiles, granite, limestone, carpeting, and glorious hardwood. Plaza Ontario is offering free pad with all carpet orders placed before December 31st, 2013. The businesses in Plaza Ontario make it your one-stop destination for blinds, lighting, flooring, decorating, and cabinets. Give your home that special touch. Visit Plaza Ontario today on Provincial Road.
Your voice, your opinion. Let's talk. Welcome to the Lynn Martin Show on AM800 CKLW.
10:35 on AM800. Lynn Martin along with Mayor Eddie Francis. Last night, Council unanimously supported their budget, and we are talking about what that means, where the money will go over the next 4 years. And one of the things we haven't talked about as far as where the money goes is we still have firefighters that need to be looked at.
Well, the arbitrated settlement or award, I shouldn't say settlement, that was given and announced several months ago basically says that we have to go from a 48-hour work week to 42-hour work week, which means the firefighters that are currently working 8.5 shifts a month will now work 7.5 shifts a month. But you still have the same amount of work that needs to be completed. So worst case scenario, you have to hire 30 plus new firefighters, and that comes at a cost of anywhere from $3 to $4 million, worst case scenario, to cover it. I've been very clear. Council's been very clear. Council had that discussion again yesterday evening, resolving and giving me the support to continue to say that this will not be something that we'll pass on to the taxpayer. It has to be zero. It has to be a solution that comes into play that basically has zero impact to the taxpayer. I've had several conversations, as has a city administration and the fire chief, with the association, with their president. Their president was away on a well-deserved vacation, planned well in advance. He'd asked me to wait until the end of the month, until his return to pick up the conversation. He did return. Their board did meet on Sunday. I did get a call Sunday from the association president indicating to me basically that the board met and that they cannot agree to finding a zero, that we've had surpluses in the past several budgets, and that we should find a way to make this happen, and that zero is not going to happen. At which point in time I said to him it was very disappointing. It was regretful that they had reached that conclusion. But I also shared to him there should be no illusion. I am not going to, neither will council, have other departments that have been belt tightening, have them pay for an increase in the fire department. That was something that was well understood going into this arbitration. It's something that was well understood coming out of this arbitration. And police, social services, public works, every department at the city has had to find a way to tighten. Just because an arbitrator wakes up and decides that he's going to issue a check without the discipline of a budget and say to us, pay it, it's not going to happen. Unfortunately, the association has not come back with solutions in terms of how to keep it. The conversation on Sunday left me very frustrated. I expressed that frustration to the president because I had hoped the association and their new leadership was going to strike a new tone, a tone of cooperation, a tone of true partnership where they were going to work with us to try to mitigate the impact against the residents of the city of Windsor. And we would hope that I had hoped that would happen. But to come back to me and say to me, well, you guys have had